Daily stock market update today, the 24th of November, and also the week ahead as well. Well, in terms of the week ahead, obviously holiday shortened, Thanksgiving, early Friday close as well. You're going to get very little liquidity. That means you'll get volatility. So ignore the noise. It's going to cause panic to people as a result if there is volatility. The focus is very much going to be on the US consumer. It's short-term noise excuse for traders to trade. Consumer in the sense of Black Friday sales, Cyber Monday, how's it going? Some kind of testimony to the economy, and also whether interest rates will drop. That's really the most important thing. The most important weighted factor on what's moving the US stock market at the moment is whether or not interest rates will drop in December. In actual fact, it's so finely balanced, it's actually good for you if you're into US stocks, and as goes America, so goes the rest of the world. Because if they do cut them, then the chances are they're going to do another cut later on because they're worried about the economy and they've got data that, or worries that perhaps the rest of the market hasn't seen. And if they don't cut them, we know they're more likely to come later, and that too should help the market. The only thing which might drag the market lower in the near term is actually not valuations. If you look at NVIDIA trading at 28 times earnings, that's not unusual. In other words, you're paying $28 when you buy a stock of NVIDIA for every future dollar of earnings. Okay. So it's not valuations, which is why, and it's not even growth, because we've seen from their earnings, growth is going up. Value and growth are the two most important factors which move stock prices. The other one is momentum. So most likely what's going to move things is going to momentum to the downside. The fundamentals on interest rates are not particularly worrying, neither is unemployment or any other economic shock. So it's really going to be more momentum driven, which means calm heads will be the ones which win. What else is happening? Lots of American macroeconomic data coming out, retail sales, purchase price index, kind of stuff nobody really looks at, and things which in the short term will only feed into the interest rate decision, and ultimately people will read it, and whatever they thought beforehand, it'll just confirm that pre-existing bias. So you can afford to ignore all of it. It'll make wonderful journalistic content. When I was doing my TV show for Bloomberg, of course, we love talking about those things, but I would say then what I'm telling you now, it is utterly irrelevant for the longer term, other than whether or not it's going to change interest rates and give some kind of economic shock. If there is no shock from the data and none is expected, then you can carry on. In the UK, of course, we've got the budget on Wednesday. That could mean sterling falling. The idea being that if there's massive tax rises, then interest rates will be set lower by the central bank, the Bank of England. And if interest rates are lower, you're earning less money on holding sterling. So you might as well sell sterling and go into another economy, I don't know, the Swiss, the Japanese, whatever else. But that doesn't affect us, other than lower sterling means if you're earning your profits in American dollars and translate it back into sterling, you've got more profits, technically, just on a technical currency conversion, which should see the FTSE 100, the companies of which generate profits in the US, continue rising. We've got earnings coming out of Dell, Analog Devices, Autodesk, Workday, Zscaler, Best Buy, HP, and NetApp. Important companies. I happen to own some of those, but, and here's the important thing, whilst I own some of those, I think about 3 of those, I don't particularly care about the earnings unless there's going to be a massive fundamental shift. That's because my holding period is going to be 12 to 3 years with those, and therefore, unless the earnings show that their business model is substantially failing, which I doubt would be the case with any of them, I'm not bothered even if they drop 7 to 10%, which in and of itself won't be enough for me to buy more, because I'd want to see a more substantial fall than that before I would buy more. And I only want to hold the kind of companies which, if they drop, I'd want to buy more. Otherwise, why do I need the stress, given that I've got the choice of what to buy? Oil has pretty much stabilized, 3% weekly drop. Again, it's an issue about Ukrainian peace. It's well below the $80, which would start worrying me in terms of the impact on cost of living and would take money out of the stock market. So nothing to worry about over there. Bitcoin heading towards 86,000 US dollars. It's on a bit of a rip down. For me, I don't try to look at the macroeconomics. What I try and look at with something like cryptocurrencies is the average prices over the near and medium term. And if both averages are moving lower as they are with Bitcoin, then unless you're holding it for a long period of time, i.e. short period of time traders, of course, they will get out, they'll panic, they'll worry. But if you're holding for a longer period of time, you wouldn't, or you might do 50-50. You might say 50% core holding, 50% not, and they start easing out some of it. The problem, as we know with Bitcoin, and there was a Morgan Stanley piece this weekend, which said, once you start having more than 6% of your risky assets in Bitcoin, it's having such a massive impact on your portfolio because it can easily drop 50% that it's giving you more volatility than you realized. So just be aware of that. The futures markets, which give you a headline before the markets open, the S&P is up, NASDAQ's up, the Dow is up. Don't try and come up with some complicated trading strategy thinking that that gives you some great inside information. No, it's just telling you which way the markets are going to open. It's just how the futures contracts work in relation to the cash market, which will open shortly after this broadcast. Alphabet's up 4% pre-market. Again, I think benefiting, well, from a couple of things. There were some stories over the weekend that its AI is better than everyone else's AI. I was about to go into a song then. And also the Warren Buffett effect. I think Berkshire Hathaway having bought some. Though the fact that they bought Alphabet, not some of the others, don't read too much into that. It is a play on tech more broadly. Novo Nordisk has dropped another 9.8%. Now, I've said Novo is one of those I will eventually, I suspect, want to buy because it's always been a good, consistent performer. However, I won't do it until the monthly MACD has stopped falling, and it just continues. I thought we'd hit a bottom on it, but that's why I don't prematurely exit. There are three places you can buy a stock: when it's falling, when it's flattened, or when it's rising. Hedge funds prefer the rising part. Retail clients prefer when it's still falling. They like to catch falling knives. Statistically, guess what gives you a greater probability of odds of success? Yeah, the hedge fund way. So I'd rather wait that one out. The Miski World, that's where I keep some of my company cash as Treasury. Tends to be in the Miski World. I must pull that one up and have a decent look to see which, I mean, obviously at the moment, it's not in bear market territory, of course, but the prices aren't falling either. So no action needed. You only have 3 decisions to make on anything: buy, hold, or sell. Just beware with the Miski World. It's more volatile as an exchange traded fund than people realize. You can easily lose 20% on it. When I say easily, you can lose 20% on it. So be careful of that. In terms of other areas and other pieces of news on commodities, as I said, Brent crude $62. That's pretty cheap. That's really helping the global economy. It's helping companies, it's helping individuals, and it's easy to neglect that. Gold is still above $4,000. Look, if you ask me, is it more likely to go up 50% than down 50%? I would say down. Everything I tell you on these things, I will tell you what I would say on my Bloomberg TV show. Okay, so that's the way I see it. By the way, Novo Nordisk, its reason it's fallen is because Ozempic fails Alzheimer's progression trials. It's now at 2021 prices. Very often companies which have been consistently good, they've still got great scientists, they've still got great intellectual property, start going down to 4-year lows. And I used to do this on TV and say, look, it's now at 2021 prices, you're picking up a bargain, but I wouldn't get in yet. And it's one which I'm sure will come up on our reviews often. Amazon's data center footprint, larger than widely understood, 900 plus facilities. That's going to drive a greater push towards nuclear technology. That does not mean we go out and look for narratives and sexy stories about nuclear. Be warned, you're going to see those, especially from newsletter sellers who are going to talk about some tiny little volatile nuclear company with a great story. Stories sell. They also are a trap for fools. Okay? To quote Rudyard Kipling, a trap set for fools by knaves. So be careful. Nobody knows what the hell a knave is. Not a good person. So be warned. You're going to see more of those stories. It is true, but it doesn't mean you can just buy the next tiny little nuclear company unless you happen to be very risk loving. So what's going on for the week ahead? Let's have a look at some of the week ahead stories beyond what I've already covered. Because of this shortened week, I think a lot of us are just going to pretty much take it easy. The biggest driver, I think, other than interest rates going into December, is whether or not the big money thinks, you know what, I've had another good year, let's just take December off. And they start taking some of those profits. I'm not seeing that at the moment, but that is something which we'll keep an eye out for. Like I said, big earnings coming out of Agilent Technologies, Keysight, Analog Devices, Dell, Autodesk, Workday, and NVIDIA said that the AI story is not a bubble, yet the market sort of forgot it very quickly. There's nothing these companies can say which is going to reassure the market or disturb the market. So in a way, they're irrelevant, even though Dell and HP are pretty big companies, Autodesk, big companies. Okay, there's nothing they can say which is going to reassure a market which has made up its mind that it's going to move on to the next story. And that's how it's been reading what's been going on with NVIDIA's earnings. It hasn't said, oh, wow, this is amazing. We've moved beyond the early stages of AI and how amazing it is. We're now at, can this really be true stage? And looking for excuses to take some money off the table. Crypto is still under heavy risk-off pressure. When you hear that on TV, what they mean is retail money isn't flowing in. So I'm just waiting for crypto before I decide to buy any more. But if I buy it, it'll be for the longer term, and only because it's fallen substantially and a lot more than Bitcoin's fallen at the moment in any event. If you want to learn a bit more about investing for yourself and how to do it, and you'd like a free copy of my book, Investing Unplugged, go to alpeshpatel.com/links. This book I'd written about 200 columns in the Financial Times by the time this was published, and it has all the best knowledge from Nobel Prize winners who I'd use. And I was working on that book when I was lecturing at Oxford as a visiting fellow on behavioral finance. And so it's got a lot of that content in it. And it was during the writing of that book, I'd launched the hedge fund, which was then Cayman Island domiciled equity long short. So it's got a lot of the professional stuff, but don't worry. It is written and meant to be read by my grandma. And that's the trick. You've got to be able to explain finance in simple terms to people. If you're not already managing your pension yourself, that's why SIPs and ISAs or 401ks, wherever you're watching this in the world, were created. Now, one simple ask I always make on these videos. I love doing these, but we need to get more than 5,000 people watching them. The best way to do that is the algorithm on TikTok or YouTube. And the best way to get the algorithm to make sure we get the viewers so I keep doing them, so it's worth my effort, and because you love them, is for you to comment, share, like, repost. Okay, do any of those things, engage with the video. All of those things make the algorithms push it out to more people. Therefore, more people get to hear about it. And if more people hear about it and see it, and I see it's getting a big audience, then I think to myself, this is worth doing. Okay, I can't just do it for Mr. Jones in Blackpool or Mrs. Smith in Croydon or in, I don't know, Auckland, New Zealand alone. So we need a bigger audience. If you wouldn't mind commenting, sharing, saving. Apparently on the algorithm on TikTok, especially if you save the video and if you hit the subscribe button, all of those things push it to a broader audience, which means I'll do more of these and give you more apps, tools. We've got some free apps we've created as well, campaignforamillion.com/tools. So you'll get more and more things. I hope that's a fair deal. I hope that's a fair swap. I take my time to do a daily update. You just have to click save, comment, etc. I think that's a pretty fair swap. Thank you all very much. I look forward to speaking to you tomorrow.